Halloween. Should we get involved as Christians or not? That's what we're going to talk about in this video, because every year many Christians, actually, we get asked this question a lot on Crowd Church. Should I get involved with Halloween? Does Halloween fit within the context of Christian faith? Now, even amongst Christians, there are many varied perspectives, to say the least. So I want to focus in specifically on two of them, because there are two main camps that Christians generally fall into. I know there are more, but let's focus on the key two. So number one are those who believe that Christians should definitely not get involved in Halloween in any way, shape or form. We do not participate in it because of its pagan origins and also its potential sort of association with things like the witchcraft or sorcery or, mysticism and all that sort of stuff, which Christians do not want to get involved with for very good reasons. So I understand that. Okay, so that's camp number one. We do not get involved. Camp number two is also held by Christians who believe that we can participate in Halloween, but do it in a way that is not sort of just blindingly going along with what everyone's doing. But how can we participate in Halloween in a way that aligns with our faith, which might sound like a contradiction in terms. So let's dig into it, okay? So let's look at camp number one. So let's think about the concerns that Christians might have about Halloween, okay? Now, its origins date back to the ancient Celtic festival, Samhain, a time when it was believed spirits roamed the earth to mingle with the living. So to protect themselves, people would dress in costumes and wear masks and light bonfires to scare them away. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Now, this was a pagan festival, and when you sort of add this with the sort of the more modern interpretation of Halloween, where we dress up as witches and wizards and we get involved in, it's sort of association with witchcraft. I know it's kind of loosey-goosey, but you can understand from Christians' point of view why participating in Halloween could conflict with biblical teachings and how it might inadvertently endorse beliefs contrary to the Christian faith. I totally get that, right? So that's why some people may have concerns with it. Now, knowing that then, if that's the case, how could Christians even think about getting involved with Halloween? Now, if I'm honest, personal story, I used to be in the first camp. I sort of stayed out of Halloween because I struggled to see how Halloween could feel sort of aligned with honoring God. I sort of struggled and wrestled with that. So we didn't really do anything on Halloween. When the kids were younger, the church did sort of like a light party. So the kids didn't feel like they were missing out. We would go along to things like that. But that's kind of all we did. And then I listened to a podcast by a friend of mine called Caesar Kalinowski, who sort of chatted away about the Christian concepts on Halloween. And actually, it challenged my thinking. And I'll explain why. So many Christians, including me, see Halloween as a unique opportunity, right? I would argue that it is a day like any other day where the light of Christ can shine brightly. It's a chance to connect with our communities, share our faith, and even reshape the holiday into a positive sort of faith-aligned celebration. I'll come on to that in a little bit more detail. So you see, Halloween, this was the key thing for me. This is what Caesar said. Halloween is the one night of the year where my neighbors knock on my door. Okay, so they come to me all the time. I'm trying to get to know my neighbors and obviously bring the gospel wherever I'm going. But this is the one night of the year where they knock on my door. And it's a great way to meet new folks and even share the gospel with people. So churches like the church that I went to may run events like the Light Festival, some more traditional ones like Harvest Festivals may be on offer as an alternative way to celebrate the day and get the kids involved without all the weird costumes, really. Now, as a family, we never really did the trick or treat thing. As I mentioned, I didn't really do the whole Halloween thing, dressing up as a ghost or a witch. I never could get my head around that as a Christian. But what we now do is we dress the front of the house. So we put out some things. I'll show you some pictures. They'll come up on the screen. And we invite others to knock on the door. And all the things you saw on the screen were made by myself and my daughter, and we had a good time doing it as well. You see, I love it when people come and knock on the door. I get to chat with the parents, get to chat with the kids, just meeting new people. It's amazing. And we met our neighbors, well, some of our neighbors, through doing that. Now, let me just clarify. I don't think everyone should do Halloween as I do it. I think that's a choice you have to make, because obviously as a Christian, you've got to have a clear conscience in all of these things. Now, historically, the church's relationship with Halloween has always been a bit layered, shall we say. So the name Halloween itself originates from All Hallows Eve, which is actually the eve of the Christian feast of All Saints' Day. Now, this time was set aside to remember the martyrs and saints who have gone before us. And All Hallows Eve eventually became Halloween. So it's interesting, isn't it? Another festival, another holiday that has a mix of Christianity sort of thrown in and a bit of paganism. So how do we respond to that today? How do we deal with that today? Where does this leave us? So the Christian perspective on Halloween indeed does vary. Now, whether you choose to abstain or participate in Halloween, that's entirely your choice. I see it from both sides of the equation, and I see the benefits from both sides of the equation. I get the arguments from both sides. And like I say, I think you have to do it with a clear conscience. I'm not a fan personally of going out and trick-or-treating and dressing up like a ghost. For me, that's a bit too far. I do love the fact that everyone knocks on my door and I can get to chat with my neighbors and meet them. But you do what you feel is right before God with a clear conscience. And let's do it with respect for each other's convictions and focus on honoring God in our choices. Remember, the beauty of our Christian faith lies in its diversity and our shared commitment to living a life that reflects the love of Christ and his teachings. So whatever your decision this Halloween, may it be one filled with peace and joy and God's enduring love. Hey, listen, thanks for listening to me talk about Halloween. My name's Matt Edmondson. I am a pastor of Crowd Online Church. If you've never been to church before, we would love to see you at our online church service. So if you can't make it to your local church building, come join us. More information is on our website. The link will be in the description below. And also, I would love to hear what you think about Halloween as a Christian. What do you think? And if you're sort of trying to make a decision, leave a comment. Would love to know. And of course, if you're not a Christian, if you're unchurched, Christian background, and you just think we're all a bit weird and spooky, well, write that as well. We'd love to hear that story and just tell us why. Do it kindly, obviously. But genuinely, would love to hear all of your comments down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.